I'm back. Hello, 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 hello. That didn't take too long. Welcome, welcome. I'm back for another panel. I don't have a lot going on today, so I can make time for another to hold the space open. It's just going to be an open panel. I'll look at the news real quick, see if anything's changed, and maybe see if there's more tweets. A lot of it's really just the fallout from the rally. Oh yeah, and people. Did y'all see where their fire set in Washington and Oregon, they're burning the drop boxes, the ballot boxes. I have no idea why. And I don't think they know which side's even doing it. Let me look into that. Incendiary devices were set off Monday at 2 ballot drop boxes in Portland and Vancouver, Washington. And hey, peace. Oh, nothing really happened. I'm rolling out something new. Vancouver. Let me just show you on a map. It would be a lot easier. Vancouver's kind of like a suburb of Portland, so they make it sound like two separate cities, but it's really all the same area. Let me try to find it on a map. Dang, why is this so hard to find a map of? I'm not finding anything I searched for lately. Let me just pull up. Damn it. Maps. Here we go. All right, so get that out the way. Hang on. Why can I not pull up a stupid map? Here we go. Why are you moving my map? Why don't you say where I put you? All right, Portland is here, and Vancouver is across the Washington border here, Vancouver, Washington. But this is all kind of one metro area. So the two boxes were in Portland and Vancouver, so it's all the same area. So anyway, it looks like they set off these devices at 2 of these drop boxes, and it destroyed hundreds of ballots. These things right here. The thing I'm going to be dropping off later this week you can they have special ballot boxes you can drop them in, or you can put them in a mailbox. See, there's no postage required if you mail it in the U.S. So I'm just going to drop mine in the local postage box by my house. But let me see if I can figure out who's doing this. Vancouver's the biggest city in Washington's third congressional district, the site of which... Oh, it's for a House race, so there's a really close House race. And then what's going on in Portland? Authorities said that enough material was collected from the devices to show that they were connected, and connected to an October 8th incident where a device was planted at a different Dropbox in Vancouver. Portland is like the capital of Antifa, so they're assuming it's Republicans, but I wouldn't be so quick to assume that because they are not normally the violent activist up here. It usually comes from the left. Well, anyway, I'm going to be following this story. Southwest Washington cannot risk a single vote being lost to arson and political violence. I agree. There's no place for that in a democracy. The thing about mail-in voting is if your ballot gets lost, or destroyed, you can request a new one, and then they count that one instead. So, like, I don't even know why they're doing this with the boxes, because there's a workaround for it. Hey, Ricardo. Oh, board game story's good. Hopefully you have a problem to solve too. I'm starting. Those of you that have whiny little problems, or yoyants, as we would call them in Cajun culture, I can help with that. Just bring them up, and I'll talk about them, and I'll solve them for you very quickly, in minutes. And that's another service I think I'm able to offer here. So that's what this stream's about, really. If you need advice, problem solved, suggestions, if you need to know, like, find your personal agency, it's the contrast again between the victim mentality and the empowerment mentality. We can reframe your problems in an empowerment, using an empowerment paradigm, and that right there usually solves like 95% of them. Okay, let's see what else is going on. I'm excited to hear this board game story. You're talking about in person, like you went to a board game day and there was more shenanigans? Well, test me, Ricardo, because sometimes what people think are real problems turn out to be whiny problems. That's part of what I'm here to help sift out for people. The real problems from the problems that people make for themselves or contribute to themselves. Because there are real victims. Like if you're walking down the street and somebody snatches you and starts beating you up for no reason, I would say that you didn't bring that on yourself. That's legitimate victimhood, but that's much, much, much rarer than the problems people actually think they have. Sometimes they're a victim of their own self. All right, let's see if there's any new tweets. There is a tweet that I want to share, but it's pretty long. It's worth, you know what, I'm just going to post the link. I might read it on another stream, but I think I'll skip it today. It's kind of a call for unity. I'll play this video. This is some obnoxious, probably Spurg on the left. And the person they're it's a male, autistic male, I'm assuming autism, harassing a female, and I'm 100% on the female side. Speaking of victimhood and all that, I am on this gal's side 100%, and I would tell this little twerp something if I were there in person.
Go Trump. What do you think about that?
Go Trump?
Yeah.
You're stupid.
Okay.
What do you play? You're like attack?
No, don't
Look at this shit.
No thanks. Okay.
Look at this shit.
Because
I
she's
play
a Trump
lacrosse.
supporter.
I skateboard.
Bye. Okay.
So now you're talking shit to me.
No.
I went to
No.
Stanford. How old are you?
How old are you?
40.
You're too old to be acting like
I make
that.
$500,000 a year. What do you make?
Why are you here?
Why? Because I'm here as a public sidewalk, bitch.
Okay.
Get used to it.
Have a good
You play
night.
this. I skateboard. I was at lacrosse. Are you attack or forward?
This is not even good.
Who cares? You
trolling.
guys suck.
Okay.
Bye. Go to
She
Stanford.
handled it like
Go
a
to Stanford.
pro.
Oh, wait, hold on. Only 100 people apply for Stanford. Only 4 get in.
Nice.
Not you guys.
Keep him in Stanford. Don't let him out among the rest of us. Stay at Stanford. I wish that chick could give a training class to most women on how to handle trolling and being confronted by guys like that. She's my new hero. She handled it so expertly. Oh, I found a new account on Twitter too, which I think is a wonderful follow. It is called Kamala Headquarter Lies, and what they do is they take all the statements that come out of the official Kamala Headquarter Twitter account and they debunk them. Like, so all of the manipulation, the rhetorical manipulation, like about the rally last night, etc. And they're very specific. They put like the claim and then the truth. Like Trump fantasy, this is the claim that the Kamala headquarters make. Trump fantasizes about decapitating a journalist. First of all, with Kathy Griffin on your team, you have no room to talk about decapitation, anything. The truth is, Trump was applauding Vance for doing a job on Meet the Press, and this was taken out of context. He was speaking metaphorically about how he handled a certain reporter. Trump calls American generals stupid. The truth is, he called them stupid because they tried to stop him from destroying ISIS. There's a context that they decontextualize everything, and that's a weak move. That's really a beta move. And we saw that this morning with Fatty's CBS 60 Minutes quote, where he said that Trump was trying to shut down the media. And the actual quote was that if CBS doctored this interview, then Trump thinks they should lose their license as a result. It's a free license anyway. I wonder if we can stream him. Let's see. So it turned out that the actual context for Trump's quote was very different than how Fatty was trying to portray it. So that's something common I'm seeing that's happening. I'm seeing it on the left. I'm not saying it's not happening on the right. I'm just seeing more examples of it in my feeds on the left. Let's check out this Portland Andy guy. Because this is something that, like, if they're doing it up here, I could maybe even get involved. All right, let's take a look. What is he doing? Just walking around Portland.
Look at my head.
Where's the story? My trip to get French fries was more exciting than this. Come on, Portland Andy. You're working with YouTube attention spans here.
Oh shit, we are live.
Oh, he doesn't even know he's live?
Well, that's good.
All right, Portland Andy, I'll come back to you when you have your shit together. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to introduce that account. So far, I don't even know if he's on a show or what his purpose. I thought he was like covering, like on the scene. He's just walking around Portland, it looks like. Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, I pinned the link for the panel. Y'all should be able to come up. Come up, bring your problems. Let's solve them. I love problem solving. It's one of my favorite things to do. I wish I were better at solving my own than I am at other people's, but you know, if anybody wants to try to solve mine, they're welcome to take a stab. Oh no, I said take a stab. Now I'm going to get portrayed as a violent Nazi that wants to kill people. When Tuesday is the election, and then after, so like by Wednesday we'll have the Civil War. By Thursday everybody will have settled down. Whatever unrest there's going to be will have dwindled by now, and then we'll be in a new world by the weekend. And I'm going to be doing my thing here and celebrating life either way. So living up here in the Pacific Northwest for the last 15 years, I feel like has prepared me well for life under a Karenocracy. So even if Kamala wins, I feel like I have a decent amount of resilience to get through the next 4 years. And I actually voted for Biden in 2020. I was not ready for another 4 years of Trump. I was ready to move on to something else. And now I am not prepared for another 4 years of Biden-Harris, even if it means going back to Trump. I had a taste of each one, and I know which one represents me, reflects my values, my policy goals, etc. It's been made very clear. And I don't think there's anything wrong with voting your values or your policy goals. If abortion's important to you, vote Kamala. That makes perfect sense. But you don't have to demonize the rest of us as Nazis to do it. There's like a respectable way to do that still keeps harmony and social cohesion. If my value is free speech or DEI, then Trump is obviously the candidate to vote for, but you don't have to paint me as something I'm not in the process just because. We can respect each other's vote. We used to, even during Bush Gore, even during Obama McCain, at least in my circles, I still remember Americans more or less respecting each other's vote. Like they weren't seen as an existential evil just because of the way they voted. That all changed with Trump. Trump is when everybody lost their minds, or half the country lost their minds. And I don't see them getting that mind back anytime soon. Okay. See, Joe teased me with this board game thing, and now I'm fixated on that. Let's see who's streaming. Oh, Wrestler's doing something on the art of civility in conversation without even knowing what the topic is. I'm sure it's about, I kind of have an idea because I've seen Wrestler on a few streams. Oh, look, Fatty's on there. Hang on. Fatty, you were supposed to come up here.
Worst. Okay. There's always a guy on site that can tell you how you're fucking up.
That other guy used to call it the
How
PFU.
bad you're doing it.
Yeah.
How shitty. Just the attitude of some of these guys, man. I've dealt with
I could be
all
one
of
of
my
those
life
guys.
with this. The first guy on the job site that says, this isn't going right. And this
I'm sure that's not how he says it, Fatty. All right. But civility is cultural, and it gets weaponized and manipulated. There are people. First of all, different cultures have different ideas of civility. Second of all, some cultures don't, like our culture doesn't use civility at all. I have a whole channel. I've been having conversations for years, and I would say I'm pretty low in civility. It's not anything I pay attention to or is a big value of mine, and I have conversations just fine. There are some cultures or groups of people that find it necessary if they're trying to have a certain kind of conversation to bring in whatever. You know what? Let me ask the AI what this civility business is about. Because I don't see that it impact. In fact, most of the time it detracts from a conversation because it starts to focus on the form of the conversation, how the conversation's happening rather than the content. I would just rather focus on the content, and I don't care how civil or not it is. And so I'm better when I'm conversing with people that like have low priorities when it comes to civility. But a lot of people geek out on civility and can't seem to have a conversation without it. And that's fine for those people. But again, like you don't have to judge the rest of us if you don't really understand why people that don't need civility have the conversations the way they do. What is civility? And why do some cultures find it so essential to conversation and dialogue? It's the act of showing respect, courtesy, and consideration. See, that to me is just that's a trap. It's laying down these traps that people can constantly interrupt the conversation. It like lays down a standard to reference the conversation against. So instead of the conversation just flowing along on content, it keeps getting hijacked at moments to reference it against the civility standard. And like, oh, you're not being civil. Oh, look, you're falling short of civility here. Oh, look, that thing you just said, it was not. And to me, as an autistic person, it just detracts. I cannot. If civility is important to you, don't try to have a conversation with me. If you can't just jump in the ring and talk, I'm not your conversation partner. And consideration for others in conversation, regardless of disagreements or differences. I feel like I have consideration for others, and I respect what they're trying to say. It involves listening actively, okay, speaking with tact. What is tact? What is tact? I'm autistic. Help me understand. See, tact is a social value that's where like etiquette, politeness, civility, tact, Those are standards that are set up, and then they have this whole little social police force that come and enforce them. But there are cultures that don't use those values, and then when we're trying to have a conversation with those people, we get policed against values that are not even our own values. Help me understand. Tact is the ability to communicate something honestly. Okay, I have that part. Here's the additional requirement. See, this is what I'm saying. They raise the bar for people like me. So we get gate kept out of the conversation. I can have an honest conversation. And I can listen actively to what you're saying. And I can give you consideration as a person. But then there's all this extra stuff you have to do with it. So it's the ability to communicate something honestly, and here's the extra stuff, in a way that considers the other person's feelings, making it less likely to hurt or offend them. There we go. There's the crux right there. Because you all know I don't care about your feelings. I don't care how you feel about something I have to say. I'm not going to let that distract me from saying it. And so this is a way to babies. This is like the feminization of. I can't imagine there's a bunch of men sitting around saying, "Guys, we need to have more civil conversations." This is the feminization of society. That's a female thing. I want to talk to you, but I don't want to get my feelings hurt, and I don't know how to manage my own feelings. So I need you to abide by this code of civility that I've installed into your conversation. Hail Sigmund, or whatever. Blood and souls for who's Ariok? Tell him to come up. He sounds cool. Oh, he's from the Bible. From King Elasar, who participated in the Battle of Siddim. Wow. Hey, Vinny. Vinny, I was thinking about you the other day. I hadn't seen you in a while. Okay. Take your time, because I got the AI up. I'm trying to figure out this civility thing. It sounds Germanic. It sounds like something you Germans polluted my life with. It's about knowing when to say something and how to phrase it to be respectful and understanding. Let me stop you right there. Respectful maybe, but I understand just fine without civility. It does not impact my ability to understand. So quit gaslighting and framing it that way. Yeah, I'm autistic. I have no idea when to say something and how to phrase it to be respectful. That's part of autism. I'm not good at knowing the right thing to say at the right time. I admit that. I am very good at saying the true thing all the time. So if that's what you're looking for, I'm your guy. If you're looking for it to be said a certain way, go find somebody else to have a conversation with. But that doesn't mean my conversations have less value, that I listen less, that I understand less, or that I don't have respect or consideration for the person. It just doesn't take the form that you want it to take. And you don't have the emotional intelligence to manage your feelings properly. That's why you need this civility crutch. Some of us can do fine without these training wheels. Let's see. Imagine you need to give someone feedback about a mistake they made. Without tact, you might say, "You messed this up." Oh my God, that's what Fatty was saying. You fucked up. With tact, you might say, "I think there's a way we could improve this part a bit." The information is the same, but the second way softens the impact and focuses on the solution, not just the mistake. If I tell you you fucked up, I can focus on the solution just as well. So this is not accurate. It may soften the impact, but it absolutely says nothing about somebody's ability to focus on a solution. So why did you throw that in there? In fact, I'm going to tell it. I can focus on solutions. I can understand and focus on solutions just fine. Just fine regardless of tact. So why is that? So why is that part of the definition? Now it does say for people who naturally think in straightforward terms, which is common for many autistic people, tact can feel like an unnecessary or even confusing layer. Thank you, AI. I feel more seen and heard by you than most humans. but it's often helpful because many people are sensitive to how things are said, not just what is said. Okay, I would say they're not my audience. I don't have to adapt myself to people with that level of sensitivity because I'm going out of my way to avoid them so that I don't disrupt their lives. I don't want these people in my I want them filtered out of my life. So my straightforwardness is perfect for that. It says that's a great point. Tact isn't really about the practical solution focused part of communication. It's more about helping others feel comfortable. Tact is about babysit my feelings. It's that external locus of control. It's that needing a mommy or a Karen to manage your social, emotional, and interpersonal life instead of you managing it on your own. Some people are more sensitive to how feedback or ideas are phrased. So using tact, so it's like people that are emotionally crippled need this extra layer. It's like a disability accommodation more than anything else. And I just don't interface with people that need this. So don't come on this channel if you need tact. So using tact can make them more receptive and keep the conversation calm and constructive. Again, my conversations are plenty constructive. Why throw that in? The idea of tact in focusing on solutions is often more about easing someone into potentially difficult feedback. So these are children. If you have to ease someone into potentially difficult feedback, I'm talking to a child. I'm not talking to a psychologically mature adult. I'm not talking to people. Hang on. Here it is. We could almost make a drinking game out of how many times I show these charts. I'm not talking to people up here. People up here are resilient enough to have a conversation without needing all this babysitting, and this is my target audience. So I guess tact is for the people down here. All right, I'm going to bring Joe up in just a second. Let me finish this AI thing. And I've only barely scratched the surface. I haven't even read most of its feedback. For people who, like you, don't need that extra layer and are comfortable addressing solutions directly, tact can seem unnecessary. It really comes down to knowing your audience. Tact is used more for the people who might react strongly to a direct or blunt approach. Thank you, AI. Thank you for understanding. I identified that it was about knowing my audience before you even got to this point, so we're on the same page. And it says you're absolutely right. If your conversations are already constructive without needing tact, then that's what matters. Tact is generally highlighted in definitions because it can help avoid misunderstandings or defensive reactions, which some people might struggle with. But if you're already having productive, solution-focused conversations, there's no need to change your approach. Constructive communication does not require tact as a rule. It's more of a tool that some people use to navigate varying conversational styles. Welcome, Joe. Hey, Jess. What's your problem today? What happened at
Well, I
board
did do another
games?
board game thing, and it was the same one that oh, there's the pog face.
Oh, wait, hang on. And I noticed something else too. You have a new shirt on.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
good look.
yeah,
Yeah,
Captain
I like
America.
that. That's yeah, Captain America. Okay,
I'm our own Captain America. I'm the first outlier, you know. So
that is gay approved.
right,
Zach, I
we're
love
gays here.
this. I want this on a T-shirt.
I like the tact. The tact I lack. My tact, in fact, is what I lack.
Yes, this is the tact-free stream. What happened at board games? Is it the same Karen lady?
Well, no, not the same person, but it was the same location. Because remember, there's the branch libraries across the town. So, and this is the one that meets monthly, which is where the pronoun policing happened last time, and we were considering, you know, what might happen if that became a recurring thing. You remember? And so it did not become a recurring thing because the couple that was involved with it wasn't there this time. They did not return. Maybe they'll return again, but they did not this time. And instead, this was something different that happened toward the end. And so it was because it's early voting now and people are thinking about it. And in most places, public libraries are early voting locations because they're public buildings. People, it's on their minds. And so actually, though, there was this one girl who was there this time who I met the first time I went to one of these things, and she's been to 2 of the locations, so not just this one. Normally, it's just the same people at one location, but she's actually been to more than one as well. And I actually got her number the second time I ran into her,
Oh,
because she's cute. But it turns out I misread that, and she's also, it turns out, autistic. And so I don't know how much that has to do with it, but like when I first asked for her number, she brought up the fact that I live in Chapel Hill, and we have a pretty well-known planetarium here called the Moorhead Planetarium. And she was like, "Do you ever go to the planetarium?" And I'm like, "I went when I was a kid." And she was like, "As a kid, I would go there if I lived there." And I was basically like thinking, use your brain, Joe. And then I did, and I said, "I can take you there. Just let me get your number, and we'll plan something." She was like, "Okay." But then when I texted her about it, she was like, uh, "Oh, I didn't know I was agreeing to like a one-on-one outing with you. I thought it was just in case I happened to be going to Chapel Hill someday and wanted to invite you to tag along or whatever." And I just thought, what? But anyway, the one time it seemed like, how the classic girls drop hints and all guys are too autistic to notice. All right, so not even
I
autistic.
would not have gotten that from her
Okay.
saying that.
Well, I would not have in the past, but I sort of turned my brain on, right? And I'm like, oh, this must be what's happening. Nope. The one time that the apparent hint is dropped, it's not real. It's a false signal. And anyway, so I've just seen her a couple more times at board game things. She usually shows up fashionably late. It's like 2 to 4. She usually comes up almost at like 3 on the dot. So she shows up this time. We do a game, and then as we're finishing that one up, and then we're preparing another one, she asks like, "Has everyone voted yet?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And I was like, "Nope." And they were like, "What?" They're like, "Are you gonna vote?" And I was like, "Nope." And just keeping it simple, right? And she was all she got a bit heated. She didn't get really particularly mean, but she was like, "You've got to vote for the right candidate so that I can keep control of my body or whatever." And she was like nagging me basically.
She didn't have
Um,
control of her body. It
yeah,
depends on
because
your
of the
vote.
abortion issue, basically, is what
Well, don't get
she's
pregnant.
referencing.
You have control of whether you get pregnant or not, don't you?
And so, and then there was this older guy who was like, "Well, you should vote because then you can go on record, even if you don't vote for either of the 2 candidates. If you vote for like a third party or something, you can go on record as saying you don't agree with the main 2 choices." And
Not voting
um,
does the same thing.
I just kind of ignored what they said, and then it fizzled out within a minute. But I will say, she was far more confrontational, um, about the just in her approach than I was with the pronouns, which is to say, I was not confrontational at all because that's just how I talk, right? I'm speaking English, and this is how it sounds when it comes out of my mouth. But the same librarian, because it's the same location, did not seem like say, "Hey, you keep it down," or, "Oh, he doesn't have to vote if he wants." There's nothing to no correcting or policing them, and I think it's because it's implicit that she agrees that I should be voting, and that she probably is. My guess would be a Democrat, um, especially given the area that it is.
So it was fine to sit there and let you get harassed by this woman.
Yeah. Whereas pronoun thing. Oh, we gotta intervene on that.
Oh,
Not
I
that
didn't
I
know
think
she
she should
intervened on the
intervene.
pronoun. The librarian
Huh?
did? The
Well,
librarian
she basically
intervened on the.
reiterated, like when I said she the second time, she was like, she uses they them pronouns, right? So she made
Oh,
a
is the
point to
librarian
answer.
saying that?
The librarian did that. So the
Oh,
first
I didn't
time
realize it was the
the girl
librarian.
spoke up, and the second time the librarian, because she heard the girl the first time, the librarian spoke up. Now, in neither of those cases was I being mean to this woman that came last month, right? I'm just talking. But the library spoke up, and then but this time, right, like you pointed out, I'm kind of being harassed by someone in a place where that's not really it. And like not the place for it, and yeah, no one's speaking out. Not that
Are
I
you
you
going
should have
back to
spoken.
that library?
It didn't really get that bad that I really felt off put by it. You know, I was just kind of like, and then they just shut up, and
2 is a pattern. This is twice.
we'll see. 3, you strike out though, right?
It depends on your tolerance.
Yeah,
For
but
me, it
otherwise it
doesn't
was a
take more
good.
than 1 or 2. I don't have to get police 3 times to avoid somebody.
Yeah, and so
So no planetarium date then.
but that was already established well before this happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think I would. I'm thinking she'd not be somebody to date at this point. But I mean, other than that, yeah, I still had a good time at the board game thing. But
Well, now the big question: what games did you play?
first game we played was Wits and Wagers, which I like.
What's it called?
I won. Wits and Wagers.
Wits and Wagers.
Yeah, like this. I'll just type it: Wits and Wagers.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a betting game. It's a trivia betting game.
Oh,
You
looking at it now.
it's all the questions have numerical answers, and you like write on a little dry erase board what you think the answer to the question is. And then everyone puts their answers out, and you order them from lowest to highest in like slots on like a betting mat. It's like a felt rollout mat thing that looks kind of like a casino table.
Oh,
And then you bet chips on the answer that you think is the most accurate. The most accurate without going over it. So it's kind of like blackjack, right? You want to get 21 or as close as you can to 21, but if you go over 21, you lose. So 22 is not better than 18 because it's over, even though it's closer. Same logic there with regards to whatever the correct answer is. And so it's like how much, like if the question is how much does this cost or did something cost in 1950?
or like
You
on The
say
Price is Right.
$10 and the answer is $15 and somebody wrote $16, your 10 is better than the 16 because you didn't go over 15. And then you win chips doing that, and then basically the idea is just bet and win the most chips, and there's 7 questions, so you have 7 betting rounds. And so I made 2 high confidence bets in the first 2 questions because I was pretty certain of the answers. And I made a huge amount of money, and then I kind of just coasted the rest of the game, and they couldn't catch up with me.
That does sound kind of fun. I wonder if there's an online version.
I'm sure there is. It's a very fun game. Because even if you're not sure, doesn't matter. You do get some chips for getting, if your answer ends up being the most accurate one, you do get some for that. But most of it
Oh,
is
yeah, they
betting
do
kind of like,
have one.
well, that should
Maybe
be a
we
board
could
game
stream
night.
it.
That's risk management. I could totally do.
Oh,
risk management.
actually,
We
I'm
should do it.
getting a privacy error on the website. It's not letting me go to it.
Well, there's got to be
So it's probably janky.
another platform, even if the website is. There's got to be a place to do it. That would be a
Yeah.
great thing to do for.
Yeah, I agree. I'd be up for trying it.
And it's like a 20-minute game. You can, if you just go through the questions quickly and people don't like get anxiety about writing in what their answer is, it's a great game.
What was the
You
other
could go
game?
with, we played. What we played? We played something called. It's called. It's What is it? It's something with herd in the name.
Herd? Like a herd of cows?
Yeah, like that. Let's see, board game, herd mentality. That's what it's called.
Ooh.
Okay. And basically, is a question that's asked. Everyone has to write down an answer, and then whoever, and basically the most common answer is the one that gets you a point. So there'll be questions where there's a likely common answer. They're usually pretty simple questions.
So you have to figure out what answers other people are most likely to give.
Yeah. So
Yep.
like what's the best? What type of animal is best to have as a pet? So obviously easy guesses are dog, cat, and then you might decide, well, between dog and cat, which one do I think the majority will say?
So you have to kind of read the room of the people
Right. So
you
it's
play
half.
with.
It's half of what they'll actually say, and half of what you expect them to say and how you want to modify what you say. And so, for example, with that same girl, the very first time we were playing games together, first like the day I met her, we were also playing that game, and I noticed she had a vegan tattoo on her arm here. It was like vegan with a heart or something, and so there was an answer like about like what the which one was the best, and it was gave like 3 choices. So this made it even easier. There were 3 choices in that one, and hamburger was one of them. And I thought, well, she's not going to pick hamburger because she's vegan, so I'm going to go for this other one because the third one nobody was going to say. And then she ended up picking hamburger because she thought everyone would say hamburger, and I was like, I was paying
Oh, so
attention.
they might not give the answer they would say because they're also reading everybody else.
Yes, so you have to figure out how much are they
Wow.
going to be influenced by what they would say versus what they expect the room to say. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm vegan, but I know that most people aren't, so I didn't put hamburger." And I was like, "Urgh."
Oh, it's an extra layer. Oh, let's see if they have that online.
Yeah. So I didn't win that this time. I don't think I won the first time either. And then after that, we played Codenames, which is like a word guessing game. It's kind of similar to Taboo. There'll be like a bunch of words laid out in a grid,
I think
and
I've
there's
played
like
that
this.
one. Oh, we used to play that on during COVID. I love that game.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, we
that's a
played
good
that.
one to play online.
And that one was close, but we narrowly lost. It was me. So the old guy who was like, "Well, you can still vote to let them know it's a protest vote." That guy and I were a team against the librarian and the girl who nagged me. Here's the thing. Still mostly had a good time. Like she wasn't mean to me the rest of the day. She went back to being fun and stuff, right? Maybe if she hadn't, I would have felt differently. But it was the librarian and that girl Kayla. All right, let me check my my food real quick.
I forgot about Codename, and that is available online because we used to play it all the time. I'm looking at her mentality. Play online. Let's see. Oh, you have to, they have it on Tabletopia, but you have to sign up. Maybe Tabletop Simulator has it too. Okay, I'm feeling another board game night coming on, and I'm still looking for Cosmic Encounter players. So if people want to learn a really fun, nerdy board game, get with me. We will conquer the universe together and against each other. Oh, and it's open panel if anybody else wants to come and join. Or if you have problems, come and tell us about them. We'll help solve them for you. We have Captain America and me.
Oh, I'm a dramatic Nazi now. Oh, great.
I almost put Aryan, but I went with Germanic because I know you're part Slavic. So,
Oh, okay. Well, I think
are
Slavic.
you mulatto at all? Do you have any African DNA, or are you pure
I
white?
would not know. It's possible. Probably not too likely, but it's possible being from the South. I don't think any of my ancestors owned slaves, so I don't know if that it would have been a thing.
Hmm. Is that the only place it would have come from?
I think that's the main way it would have come from, right? Like, if you descended from a slave owner or something. And sometimes slave
I
owners,
mean, they did get freed at some point.
yeah, and some of them ended up marrying their slaves even. So I would need to do a DNA test to know, though. I'm trying
What
out
is
these
that?
things called chicken fries. I saw them at
Chicken fry?
the,
Oh, is it like chicken shaped into fries?
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
basically chicken strips, like in French fries shape and
I've seen
size.
those before. Yeah. What's the dipping
Anyway,
sauce?
oh, I got some honey mustard
Uh, oof.
and ranch. So anyway, there's something of a problem, right? To keep it on topic. Um, Potential conflict at this specific library branch, but maybe others, right? I could run into other ones with other crowds. So what are your thoughts, Jeff?
Well, that's why I asked you if you plan to go back. That would be the easiest solution. Because
Yeah.
aren't there plenty of other board game groups?
I don't know about plenty. Like
Oh.
the library ones are regular.
And
So
part of it is you're hoping to meet girls as part of this too. Like so, it's a dual purpose activity. Otherwise, I'd say just go find a bunch of guys to play with. You probably that would probably reduce your chances of encountering this. But because you're trying to expose yourself to women, so to speak, then you're putting yourself in environments where it
I will say
increases the
that
risk. It's risk management.
yeah, it's exactly. It's maybe not the best place to meet young people, depending on which board game place you go to, because the ones at these libraries are usually older folks. Whereas the one at the Chapel Hill Library, which happens once a month, is after work hours. So it's usually young people there, not very many older folks.
Ah, how many people usually show up?
Chapel Hill one, or we might get like a dozen, maybe 15.
That's a good turnout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, multiple girls at that one.
Well, I mean, if the big red flag for me is that librarian, because I was gonna say if you do keep going back, you could come up with ways to handle this every time when it comes up, and eventually establish a boundary for yourself. But if she's gonna have the support of the library, like the established authority on her side, that's gonna make it more difficult because it takes out of the interpersonal realm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the librarian herself, um, isn't particularly bad. She's not like starting things. It's just how she responds to things that happen, right? And it's signs of a bias.
Yeah. To me, you're in a hostile environment. I mean, that's the beginnings of one. That's how they start. The groundwork is laid for it to escalate into a hostile environment because of the bias.
Mm-hmm. No, and what did you think of the way I handled it, which was basically just ignore it and wait until they moved on?
Yeah. Did it die? Did that solve it?
Well, for this, it died in like a minute. Like it was just
Yeah. Yeah, if you're able to, yeah. I usually take the opposite path and confront it, and then it usually escalates. Sometimes that ends it, or sometimes it escalates. But then there's also a social cost in doing that. But at least people know where I stand, and so I'm being transparent. But if ignoring it works too, I've done that tactic before.
because I certainly don't care to argue about it, right?
It's kind of a pick your battle thing. If it's not that important, but I'm thinking that because of the dynamic that's already set up, it's it's not going to be your last battle. It's a battle that you're going to have to keep wrestling with whether to pick or not. And usually, at some point, you might as well just fight the battle.
Well, what would confronting them do for me?
Establish a boundary
Hmm.
and put the responsibility on them, whether they want to keep violating it or not. Instead of having like right now, you're getting framed as the instigator or the aggressor or the
Mhm.
perpetrator because everything's done according to how they're setting up the situation. But if you take that control back and establish the boundary on your end, then they become the person that has to decide whether to instigate or not by violating what you've established as a very clear boundary.
Okay. Well,
But
let's
I
get
mean,
price for good. Yeah.
you seem like you have enough equanimity and poise to continue to go back a few times and continue to observe and see how it plays out.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've avoided conflict in the panelverse so far, even though I've been in the same like
You're right.
having
People
played
don't.
of it.
You don't get drawn into the drama. And people don't even really try to draw you in.
No, I don't seem like I'm an exciting target.
Yeah.
Some
You
people
don't. It's that
can be.
stoicism. You don't let them. You don't. Either you're not having the reactions, or you're masking them enough where they're not visible, so you don't expose that to any kind of target.
I think another thing is that I often leave when things get crazy because I lose interest, and then maybe in a subtle, intuitive way, people are picking up on that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever you do it here is working.
Okay.
But we could test it too. If anybody has drama for Joe, or wants to try to draw him into some.
Like if they found a video, it's like, here's Jeff's newest friend. What an idiot.
Yeah, you have it. You know when you know it when people start coming in under names,
Mhm.
using your identity, or make video clips about you, or include you in other clips.
So far, the little bit I've seen about me is really not about me so much as it is about you. And I think they're just
Right, you're a proxy for me, and I'm a proxy for people in the Dramaverse. Because on my own, I didn't really attract all this drama. Lanza, you do what? You have drama for him?
uh,
Real?
uh, Tech Joe eats like I don't know who real is.
Isn't
Yeah,
that a creature? What's the
maybe.
vril?
I had some leftover sauce on my dish here, because I finished the fries, so I was like getting it up. Tasty.
Naga. He's a Naga Maga. Oh, by the way, Naga is it's not lizard people, it's snake people, and they're called Nagas, and they're from Hindu mythology. So the idea that the lizard people are the ones living under the earth and controlling things is misleading. And so that's what the
Okay.
Naga is a reference to. You could be a covert
Is it because
serpent
I'm like
snake
licking
person.
the sauce off my fingers, and so
But to me, a snake would eat more. Like,
I think I would swallow things whole, right?
yeah, and use your tongue more.
Yeah,
I don't
the
think a
snake
snake
tongue.
would like get stuff all over its fingers.
Yeah, snakes
Sure.
they don't have fingers, and they use their tongue for smelling rather than eating. So if being licky reminds you
You
of a snake,
reptile dysfunction. Yes,
you reptile. I think it auto corrected to the erectile.
probably. Lanza, why don't you come up? I haven't caught up with you in a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna step away for a second to um dish away.
I'm curious what's going on in your life, and if you ever made it to the island, the little lake house island. And Lanza, if you have any actually, you don't really have whiny problems. You'd be a bad person. What? Is that why we lost you? You lost your internet? Did you down how does a phone Oh, no Wi-Fi. Did it downgrade to 4G? How did that happen? So you were working off of your data plan? You're lowering okay. Well, I support that, I guess, even if it comes at the cost of depriving us of you. If it's a way to be healthy, keep doing it. Wait, the dollar stores sell phones now for 30. Is it like a track phone or a bomba phone? How do we? You
Oh,
know what? I used it used to be Virgin, and now I think it's Boost Mobile or something. And they have really free or cheap phones if you sign up for their data plan, and it was like probably $30 a month. It was very reasonable, and so that might be an option too. It's a very and there's no contract. You just pay monthly, so you don't have to sign up for any like year-long, couple of year binding contract. It's Android. It's a Samsung. It's 5G. They forced me to upgrade to 5G, but I get really good reception, good storage, good minutes, and it's oh, okay. Well, you got a crappy version then.
mm-hmm. It even seems to
Cuz
be
I get all that
automatically
for less than 40, and it's a higher quality phone with better connection. So maybe if you switch to that, you'd save money and be back in the Panelverse.
I will say this, Jeff. I was not wearing this shirt when I was there, so maybe if I had been, they would have responded differently.
I don't know. To me, that would have been more. What were you wearing? Your
Um, I was
army
wearing a
garb.
gray fleece a gray fleece jacket and some gym shorts. So
Because that Captain America could go two ways. It could be an intimidating sign of heroism, which is toxic masculinity now, or it could be a sign of your geek cred, which I think makes you a little more friendly to that crowd, because
I think you're
they
right.
used to assume gay people were like more sensitive to their issues and on their side, and now gay people are misogynists, patriarchs. So I don't know if a Captain America shirt now signals toxic masculinity or friendliness toward diversity and inclusion and all that. Hey, Moose.
Well, it's definitely anything that because I think that the confusing part is the American aspect of it.
Yeah,
And so
you kind of have
being
to test it.
American, or rather, American symbolism comes off as more, we'll say, right wing now.
Yeah, it is right wing coded now. The American flag, the pledge,
Well, if you look
all
at
of
like
that.
a lot of like right wing T-shirts, they'll have like an imitation of the tactical flag patch on the right shoulder. Have you noticed that?
The what patch?
The tactical flag patch.
No, I'm looking it up.
Okay, yeah, I'll pull it up. I typed tactical flag patch and it gave it North Carolina versions. That's funny. That's not how it's supposed to be.
What's you have to explain this to me because I'm seeing all
Okay,
different kind of images.
let me explain it first. So, uh, trying to find a good version of it.
Coyote black, I like this one. Why is it reversed?
Show me the one that you've got reversed.
Look,
Oh, okay. Okay,
see
yeah,
some
yeah.
of these have the stars on the other side.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the reverse one is because it goes on your right shoulder.
Oh, I
Um,
see. Okay.
yeah, the left one goes, the normal one would go on your left shoulder. And it's supposed to look like how the flag would if you were like holding it up and you would see both sides of the flag, right?
Right.
And so, but the standard one is you don't always wear both. So usually you just wear the one on your right shoulder. And the tactical one is the one that you saw. It has the same basic colors as the camo. It's not the bright red, white, and blue like you see maybe like when an
There's
army
the gray and
recruiter.
black.
Yeah, the gray and black, right? Like when you see an army recruiter walking through a mall, he's got the red, white, and blue patch. That's the standard one you would wear. But when you're in a tactical situation, you wear that one. Now those fibers actually have like a special dye that comes up on like infrared cameras. So when like an AC-130, for example, sees them, they can see the infrared color on the patch and know that they're the Americans and not shoot them, for example, and
Oh,
other uses like
nice.
that. Yeah. So now let's look at. Let me find one. Yep. Sure enough. Okay. So just type MAGA T-shirt. It should be one of the first ones.
I need some MAGA gear. I meant to get some before the election, and I just never did. Okay, let's see. This one? Oh, I see on the
Yeah.
sleeve. Yeah,
Yep. They're right there, right?
yeah.
So they're mimicking the tactical flag patch, and now that's an openly political shirt there, right? Now you will see shirts that aren't necessarily political in terms of what they. So it might not say MAGA, right? Like let's say,
I love this MAGA sweatshirt. Wow. How much is this? I want to get it. Yo, I would totally wear this. I would even wear it with the antlers once I get another pair.
okay. So I'm gonna.
Oh, I hate these sleeves though. I hate those kind of sleeves. Never
What
mind.
sleeves? Oh, here. Oh man, that can't be. Okay, whatever. All right, there's an image link. So that's a Black Rifle Coffee T-shirt. And it's a good business.
Love it. Oh my God, Joe, you are like the best shop. There's got to be there's potential to monetize
All
this.
right.
You are the
So,
best gay shopper for a MAGA gay that I've
so
met
what
so
you got to
far.
do is you got to make an Outliers in Exile shirt with the flag patch on
Yeah.
the right, and then just put Outliers in Exile on there, or Gen X Jeff, or whatever it is.
I have a ton of slogans I want to make T-shirts for. I just need somebody with the know-how.
Yeah, like Lost Boys Make Noise or something like that. Um, and
You're gonna
so
make me pay you for that one, aren't you?
yeah, I'll take a cut. I'll take a
Okay.
royalty.
Yeah, I'll give
Um,
you a cut. I don't mind.
um, and but yeah, so Black Rifle Coffee Company isn't really political. It's a private corporation. You can buy the stock even. So it's basically like Starbucks, and they sell coffee, but they have a lot of merchandise, and they primarily hire members of the military or family members of military members.
What's it
And
called? I
so
wonder if there's a branch here, because maybe they'll hire a
Black
Trump supporter.
Rifle Coffee Company. Black Rifle Coffee Company. And even in places like, if you're not at their store, they have their bags of coffee.
Veteran founded. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, where are the locations?
Yeah. So I would guess that most of the people who run the business or work there are conservative, and I would imagine that most of the customers are also conservative. So even
Yeah,
though they
none in
haven't taken
Washington State. Surprise.
yeah, even though they haven't taken an explicitly right wing or conservative position on anything that I know of, right? Like the fact that they put the flag patch there is now indicative of something. And of course, just to fly the American flag out now is kind of right coded. Like when I was visiting my friend in Wisconsin, I saw a lot of Trump signs and a lot of American flags, and not necessarily in the same places, but like that just was the general environment. Whereas here, I don't see as many Trump signs, and I see like no American flags. It would be so hard to find an American flag here in Chapel Hill. And if places of business do have
What?
the flag,
Really?
yeah, like other than
Even
a
in the
public building,
South?
in Chapel Hill, yeah, this is
Oh,
liberal
because it's
town.
liberal.
Yeah. So like the post office will have a flag. The library I'm sure has a flag. The university has some flags like here and there. But like the local businesses, if they have a flag, it's probably the BLM trans pride flag. That one.
It looks like Montana is the nearest Black Rifle.
All right, head on over.
I would love to. I'm thinking about a road trip anyway. Taking the panel on the road.
You know what they say about the guys in Montana, Jeff, right?
That's where David Lynch is from. What did they say?
I don't know. I was just setting you up so you could fill the blank with your imagination.
Oh, I don't know what they say about them. Are they?
Okay.
Hopefully, they're not as boring as the people up here.
Would you be interested?
Are they Germanic?
Yeah, they're Germanic.
Oh.
But they might be like they're cowboys, right? So there could be like a nice cowboy who comes riding up on a horse for you, Jeff. That's what I'm saying.
I could do a cowboy, a trad cowboy husband, a brokeback husband.
There you go. See that now you're
My
picking
dad's a
up what I meant.
cowboy. I'm descended from cowboys.
Oh, okay. So it's even better, right? You have that fatherly. How does it work with gay women? Are often attracted to men that remind them of their father. Does it work with gay men similarly?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely with me, with all my daddy issues, it does.
Okay. I wonder why that is.
Well, my theory is people either have mommy issues or daddy issues, depending on their like individual genetic bias and their early childhood experiences. And mine is daddy issues, but some people might lead them to mommy issues, and it's gender independent. So either gender can have either type of issue.
Okay.
Because it's the imago. It's the because with men straight men, let's say it's the mother imago that gets projected onto the romantic partner, but with gay men, I guess it would be the father imago that gets projected.
Okay. And so
And the
it's like
imago is just the like there's this general male archetype or female archetype that all humans share, and the imago is the it gets conditioned by your particular parents or whatever figures are around that serve that parental role, and they kind of modify and individualize that universal archetype for you, and that becomes your particular imago of that archetype. So we all carry a different version of mother and father in us, depending on where we started life.
so yeah, maybe I should wear one of those flag patch T-shirts
To test.
to these things now, and maybe they'll know that it's not even worth.
Oh,
bothering
like
to
that's a
become-
good idea. Signal. And they'll either leave you alone. To me, well, what they're going to do is they're going to read the room and figure out how many allies they have. If they feel like they have enough allies, they're going to target you and have like start the scapegoat ritual. If they feel like there's not enough allies around to risk it, they'll probably just leave you alone and like play the game with you, but you'll notice some distancing, some like social reserve and distance. But with the librarian on their side, they're probably going to take it as an opportunity to go in and target you. Because they virtue signal each other that way. So by targeting you, they're going to signal to everybody else what tribe they're on and get some clout that way.
You may have a point there, yeah.
So you could bait them. Lay a trap for them.
Hey, Abe.
Hey, what's up? Do you have any
He was
problems
in my
today?
stream. He was in my stream, and he was like asking me a bunch of questions.
Oh,
So he gave me something to do that day.
well, nice. It's I think he's a valuable member of this community, certainly.
He is helpful. He was giving me suggestions on how to. He says I should open a Discord server. Maybe that's another problem I have is how do I get my snowball building up, right? And he thinks a Discord server would be a better way to do it.
Yeah, I find a channel paired with a Discord server to be kind of the standard tools for community building in this medium.
My problem is I have Discord PTSD from all the time I spent on the IDW one. So
Oh, well, but you'd be more in control of this one. I think it would start out small, and then you could grow it. You could like curate it and grow it with just the people that you want.
I think
But, I mean, it's good. You could at least start one. It's good to have, and you could always build or expand as needed.
I was thinking I would do it as a club and do like I don't know, like $10 to enter, and then in the initial announcement, we also use the dues to fund the first Monopoly contest.
Oh,
And do like a double promo with it.
Yeah, when is all that happening, by the way? You and I are the only
Whenever I
people
make it happen.
with commitment and consistency so far.
Maybe if I start now, I could get it to happen in like a month.
A month?
No,
Okay.
well, I'm talking about a contest, right? Like where there'll be clearly defined rules, and I have enough time to raise enough money that the prize in the contest feels special. You know,
Well, in the meantime, we can try out some of those games, like Wits and Wagers, Code Names, those other games.
we should definitely try out Wits and Wagers. That's a good, especially I think online you would have a better pool of questions because they are limited by whenever that game was printed, like the set you have.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the one we were playing today, the questions were before Obama was president. They were like
Well,
citing
Moose,
things
we
from,
can
like-
make a plan. We can always make sure there's a plan. It just involves people making one. But I'm available. And code names would be harder to play online because you can't see the board. Like nobody could see anybody else's board, so we'd have to
Yeah.
play kind of just verbally.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. That's understandable. Fair enough. Moose is one of these rare people with an actual life. Oh, you shaved the beard. I did just note. Good eye, not lost. See, the gay didn't even notice.
It's interesting that Notlaws is the one that brought it up.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe he's gayer than you are.
Well, I mean, judging by his avatar, maybe he has an eye for facial hair that I don't.
Could be. Yeah. I almost wonder too. I've thought about that. Was how much would having a beard affect? Like, if I hadn't shaved and I kept the beard a little bit longer, because I shaved it this weekend.
A,
Like
a
how
lot
much
of
that
it,
might
especially
affect
with women, like the superficial stuff works initially, but if there's going to be any kind of extended interaction, they're going to go off of vibes and like what they read off of you more than anything else. And if you have certain vulnerabilities, and I don't know how they detect it, but if they perceive you to have certain vulnerabilities, that's going to be the determining factor of how much you're going to get fucked with or not. If they feel like the risk of fucking with you is higher than they want to pay. Like if they feel like they're going to find out if they fuck around, they'll hold back. But if they feel like you're vulnerable enough and it's safe to try to fuck around, then they're going to take that opportunity. Almost
So
every time.
I just need to keep doing pull-ups then.
Keep them what?
I just need to keep doing pull-up then.
Maybe. I don't know how much the physical is going to make a difference if you read it as emotionally vulnerable or socially vulnerable. But your stoicism may serve you here. Because if you're not sure how to read, they're going to take smaller, they're going to do like little test risk, like kind of like she did with the pronoun.
Right.
And then you said it was the guy that was confronting you on voting.
Yeah, but he didn't really get as hostile about it.
No, but he
He's one of
pressed
those-
the issue, like he.
Yeah. He did one of those old people. Well, they're
But then
go
she's the
on
one
for
that like made you responsible for whether she gets pregnant or not or something.
yeah, basically, yeah. She was putting that on me.
After denying you a date to the planetarium, so I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah, that's a fuck thing.
I believe it, not less. I really do, especially the three witches part.
And
The warlock is a little bit more of a masculine influence, so I have some doubts there.
none of them asked exactly why I'm not voting. The old guy asked, "Is it because you don't want to vote for you don't like either side, and so you feel like you shouldn't vote?" So he asked for a specific. He tried to confirm a specific answer, but he did not ask the general question, right? Which is, why don't you vote? And
And do you think they just assume if you're not voting, it's because you're not voting? Like they want you voting for Kamala, and not voting is the same as not voting for Kamala.
mhm. Yeah,
Wait, what? Not you are hilarious. That never happened, but I love your rich fantasy life. It's very entertaining.
can't you bleed from anywhere? I mean, isn't that how bleeding works? It's wherever the bleeding happens,
Right.
especially the ear.
Stigmata. Did Jesus bleed from his nipples? Is that one of the stigmata? I don't remember that stigmata.
Sounds like it could happen. But yeah,
Hey, Jack.
hey, Jack. Yeah. So you're saying that a stoic approach to things is that they might not be able to sense anything at all, so they might not have something to pounce on.
I think it just makes you harder to read, so then they're not sure how to assess the risk at that point. And so they take smaller risk.
Not laws, man.
Like me with my emotionality, I get fucked with all the time because people can tell right away. My heart's on my sleeve, and they can tell right away what reactions they could expect
Yeah,
from
I've
me
seen
and
that. I've
what
seen it by
buttons to
now.
push.
There are definitely people who are trying to, um, get you to step in the mousetrap.
Yeah. Yeah, but they don't realize I have a whole lifetime of experience with that, and that it's not my first rodeo, it's not my 100th rodeo, it's not my 1,000th rodeo. So I'm kind of the one setting the trap because I already know what their perceptions are and
I think it's just entertaining for them.
how
It's like
shallow and limited
when you
they
wind
are.
something up and you let it go, and it's just fun to watch. I think they just like seeing you go like rocking and be like, "Hey, I'm Cajun. You don't do that to me." And I think I almost even if they're not haters, right? If they're not being some of them are being haters. Even if they're not, I think some of them like that.
Oh, we got a new sub. I need to figure out
Hooray.
how to get my numbers. I'm not a numbers guy, but they've kind of been plateauing.
Y'all need to sub to me too. What's with this?
Yeah, let me drop Joe's channel. You'll
We're
give him a
trying to
sub
build
too.
the Nexus here.
Yes, we so far you and I are the Nexus. We need who else do we have?
All right, so building Nexus isn't just getting me more subs; it's also getting other people.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of the Nexus is you join because you benefit. Like we all benefit from each new person that hitches up to our Nexus. It creates that synergistic effect. I had not lies. You didn't watch my stream earlier. I was doing chesties, but it got cold and I put on a t-shirt underneath, and I don't like to unbutton with the t-shirt on. I mean, I could
Oh
show
yeah,
you, but
if it's
I
unbuttoned
just
with
think
the
it's
t-shirt.
less cool of a look with the white
Oh,
showing
yeah.
underneath.
Like when I wear my golf shirt, I have the top button unbuttoned, and then the people could just see my chest hair. There's no t-shirt underneath.
What's a golf shirt? Is that like a polo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually leave that top undone too on a
Yeah.
golf shirt.
I need to get some more
But
of
thank you for the I could use all the fashion advice I can get.
those. Be an essay.
Except the top. What's an Essie? Isn't that Hispanish?
Yeah, that's what he's
Abe, thank you. Let's see. Abe is making outliers left and right. Thank you so much.
Oh wow. Rude
Let's see
mud
if I
crab.
recognize our new outlier. The other day,
I
one
don't
of the
know.
trolls got one, but I didn't mind.
One of the trolls.
It's the troll tax.
Hey Kane.
Oh my God, rude mud crab! I'm honored. Hey Kane, Abe, you just gifted Rude Mud Crab a membership. I don't know if you guys know Rude Mud Crab, but he is a new celebrity in the Panelverse because he just made the latest hit single, Unslaver, about Paul Unslaved, that's making its way up the charts.
Wait,
So I'm honored to have him as a member now. There's the
There are
video.
musicians dropping tracks specifically for the Panelverse.
Yes, there is. And Moose posted one the other day about Jack Talcott. Jack, did you see your video? There's a song about you too. I didn't listen really closely to the lyrics. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Abe, you have good taste in random memberships. Thank you so much. Oh, see? Good. This is a sense of humor, guys. Jack's a good sport. Paul probably enjoyed his too. I can't imagine that he wouldn't. Who knows, Joe? You may have one soon.
Maybe.
The stoic Nazi. That's what I would change you to. The stoic Germanic Nazi. We had a little Nazi rally earlier, so I want to keep that going.
Stoic Germanic Nazi. Oh boy.
All right, you know what? I can leave out the Germanic, I guess. Isn't that pretty much the same thing?
Yeah, the Germanic is well, there's that, and it's also kind of redundant with Nazi anyway.
Yeah, let's just keep you as the stoic Nazi.
Now, stoic Nazi is interesting because it seems almost like an oxymoron. Couldn't you be stoic and a Nazi?
I don't know. I see them as two different axes. One is a set of political values, and one is a set of personal values.
Well, as far as the left is concerned, they're both toxic masculinity.
Because the personal is political, according to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything's toxic racism, masculinity, and we're all going to be black and trans eventually. So
yeah, so if you're like a a Hitler pounding the table, getting gray in the face, that's toxic. But if you just sit there and keep your cool, that's also toxic. because
Yeah.
you're not getting all as neurotic as they are.
They're not giving you the precise emotions that they want from you because they want some emotions for men because it's toxic to suppress certain emotions, but they want you to repress other emotions because it's toxic to express those emotions. So there's some emotions you're supposed to express and some you're supposed to repress, and it's toxic depending on what the emotion is as to whether you suppress or express
I
it.
think Mike is terrified of the Nazi labels. He just showed up and said, "Yikes."
What kind of Nazi would Mike be?
Well, he's Italian, so maybe he'd be just an Italian fascist.
My grandfather was in World War II. He was one of the French interpreter that they discovered. They had World War II was one of the first times that America discovered Cajun people. They showed up. They got drafted, and they showed up in the military, and all of the recruits had no idea who these weird people were. And when they brought them to France, they discovered that they spoke a dialect of France that they have not heard it since the 17th century. And so they used the Cajun soldiers to interface with the locals and pose as like actual French people, and they were able to like infiltrate and get information. And there's a whole documentary on the Cajun interpreters that helped to turn one of the battles around or something. And my grandfather was one of those people. He was a World War II vet. Oh, thanks, Jack. If there's one thing I feel confident in my knowledge of, it's emotions, because I've allowed
Yeah.
myself to feel many of them throughout my life. So I have a lot of rich emotional intelligence from that. And
So
I've been
your
on the
your
receiving end of
grandfather,
other people's emotions often enough.
your grandfather, did he do like translating work with the French
Yeah.
in World War II?
He was an
Okay.
interpreter. That's what they used him for. They drafted him, and they discovered that he was English is his native language. He was in the generation where the white people came to Louisiana and they were trying to force assimilate us. So they banned French in the schools, and if you spoke French at school, you were beaten, you were punished, you were made to kneel in the corner, you were stigmatized and shamed. And he grew up in that generation, and so as a
Oh,
result, that generation passed on English to their kids instead of the Cajun French, and that's one of the beginnings of us losing our like the cultural erosion that we're facing now. It started with the linguistic erosion from the forced assimilation, and that was a common experience with Native Americans, some of the Mexican people. They did in Texas, where they tried to Americanize everybody and forcibly suppress their language and culture.
did you ever learn more French to get in touch with your Cajunness?
We have in the part of Louisiana I'm from, they started teaching us French in Head Start, and we had it Head Start, kindergarten, and I've had it. I took it as an elective in high school for 2 years, and then I also took it in college for 2 years. So I've had it most of my life, but it's taught in the schools as one of your classes. You don't even have an option. It's part of the curriculum, and I can read it okay, but I can't. I can hardly speak it or understand it because I didn't have a lot of French people around to practice with. Because Cajun they teach the Parisian French, and the French spoken at home was the Cajun French, and it was the language that the old people talk when they didn't want the kids to know what they were saying. And so there wasn't a lot of people to actually practice the French we were being taught in school with.
That must be handy to have another language you can speak.
And in Louisiana now they have what's called French immersion schools. And I had a cousin that went to one, and she's fluent in French. She's bilingual, and they teach half the day in English and half the day in French. And they
How
start you
did
very early.
how did you feel when old people would speak in Cajun French in front of you?
We knew that they were saying stuff that they didn't want the kids to know, and they were probably like talking dirty and talking like all that was all the good conversation, the raunchy conversation. But as kids, we also knew that they were never going to let us in on that conversation. So it was frustrating to be around them when they were speaking it. So we like went outside and played or something instead of sitting there tormenting ourselves about what we weren't allowed to hear.
We want to know, especially if you're a kid. Tell us. It's torture for children. Children want to be
Yeah,
young.
like the adults were obviously talking. They were switching to a language. It was the grown-up language, and they were switching to the grown-up language in front of the kids. So they obviously were talking about something they didn't want us to hear, but they were making it. They were doing it in front of us. So it was very blatant that they were shutting us out of the conversation. Look at all these diverse Nazis we have. We have Irish Nazis, Italian Nazis. We even have a German Nazi on panel. How about that?
Well, I'm not German.
Germanic.
Yeah, in a very broad sense, right? Germanic.
Oh, well, you were German the other day when Dolbez was on here.
I was talking about how I find some of it relatable, but that's just me as an individual,
The
right?
Germanic spirit. You're Prussian,
Yeah.
though, right? Prussian?
No, no. So I've said that I've described myself as culturally Prussian, even though I don't come from Prussian people.
You're
I
Slavic and Polish.
so the ancestries of I've been told I have not done a DNA test, and I won't because I'm not giving my DNA to some corporation. Um, is
It's not that hard to hide.
English, Scotch Irish, Swedish, Polish, Croatian, and Cherokee. So
Oh,
the English and the Swedish,
so you are a mulatto.
kinda, I guess. The English and the Swedish, of course, are Germanic. The Scotch Irish is Celtic. And then the Polish and
English.
Croatian would be Slavic.
Okay,
And the English would also be a lot pretty Celtic too, actually.
right.
English people are more genetically Celtic than they are Germanic, but they speak
We have
Germanic.
Scottish. My Anglo side is mostly Scottish, and we believe it's the Celtic kind of Scottish.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been a
But
way
we're not
back.
quite sure.
Yeah. So yeah, Prussian. It's fun to claim being culturally Prussian because there's no Prussia anymore, so no one can come in and say this is what Prussian people are. Right? They're gone. They don't
They
exist.
can't police your genetics, your heritage.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a fun thing to do. So it's not necessarily. This is why, like, for me, when we were talking about the Germanic spirit, to me it wasn't like a racial thing because that's to a large extent not actually.
No,
my
but it was a cultural
ancestry.
thing because I
Yeah.
could very much detect being on the outside of it.
Yeah, so it is a cultural thing, and it's handed down, and so it's learned behaviors, and I don't know how much of it actually got through my family to me, but
You picked
it's
it up
definitely
somewhere.
some
But I
things.
think just being socialized in America, which is a predominantly Anglo-Saxon nation, that
Yeah,
any of us are
like learning how to
susceptible
survive
to it.
here, is probably part of it, if nothing else, right?
Say that again.
So learning how to survive here is
Yeah, and
probably
I
part
think
of it.
our schools and certainly workplaces, corporations instill some of those Germanic values of efficiency and achievement, effectiveness, what they call whiteness nowadays. We've all seen the chart of whiteness,
Yeah, it is
punctuality.
strange that stuff is associated with whiteness now. But
I try to tap into the psychology. Like, how are the people that see that as whiteness? What is their psychology? They don't show up at work on time. They don't
like it
really
would have
like.
never occurred to me when people are like, "Wow, you're here on time," and I've had people who are surprised at like how punctual I can be sometimes. And it's not. It never occurred to me to say, "Well, of course I'm white." Like that, I never thought that before. But then there's posters saying, "Well, if you show up on time, it's whiteness," and I'm like,
I mean, when I was in school, everybody was expected to be in their seat. Like, you had a bell, and then you had like a 5 minute tardy bell, and then you got penalized. Like, so everybody was on time. It wasn't a white thing. It was something that was just expected of you as a student, as a citizen, as an employee. So the goal was to be on time. And nobody like, very few people were late or tardy, and nobody complained when they were. Like, oh, I'm not white, I can show up whatever I want because that's my culture. Like, I don't understand the psychology of people that see punctuality as cultural,
"Yeah."
as a cultural
Um,
barrier.
I could maybe imagine it if they come from a culture where like modern working clocks are not quite as much of a thing. And so there's not really an exact time that is known that can then be expected. But that's the only thing I could think.
Now, there is gay time and black time. I've had my black friends tell me about black time. Like, black people just have their own. They don't have. They like vibe. They're just, they show up when the vibes tell. It's not. It's not. Punctuality requires. It's very abstract. You have to have the ability to abstract.
You never knew what was the problem, not laws. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Oh, well, he hasn't seen the whiteness chart. Hang on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Maybe
That
I
was
can
like the
pull it
thing.
up.
So some like even some diversity trainings at workplaces we're doing is like the whiteness chart. It's like, remember, these are the signs of whiteness. Don't impose whiteness on your employees or something like that. I don't know. I don't
Okay,
think it took off quite as much, so it didn't really become like
here I found.
as mainstream as some other stuff with the DEI stuff. I think because people quickly recognized how dumb it is. That like
I'm
showing
trying to
up on
find the
time
one with
is whiteness.
punctuality on it. Because there's wow, I haven't seen this one. There's 8 white identities.
If
Okay,
anything, punctuality is Gen X, right? Because you're the
I,
punk
I, I,
generation.
I'm
Wouldn't you be
I, I'm a
punctual?
very punctual person, and I find myself the exception to Gen X. I think Gen X is.
No, you're the
I don't
punk
know if I'd call
generation.
us the
So you
punctual
would be
generation.
punctual, right? Punctual with a
Okay,
K.
this is look. This is what they present in some of the DEI trainings. Aspects, assumptions, of whiteness. The individual is the primary nuclear family, husband, breadwinner. They call this whiteness. This is a white family structure. The emphasis on the scientific method, objective, rational, linear thinking, cause and effect relationships, quantifying, measuring, that's all whiteness. It's based on Northern European immigrants' experiences. There's a heavy, somehow this is tied to the British Empire. The primacy of Western Greek, and this is called Western culture, and America is part of Western culture. So I don't know why this is controversial. Hard work, work before play. If you didn't meet your goals, you didn't work hard enough. They're calling all of that whiteness. And here's another chart that I am not familiar with. But there's a regime of whiteness, and there's 8 white identities: white supremacist, white voyeurism. We don't challenge white supremacy. We desire non-whiteness because it's interesting and pleasurable. This is crazy.
Oh yeah, there's some
White
pretty good
benefit.
ones.
Like, how are these identities? What this? These are people with way too much time on their hands. White confessional, white critical, white traitor, and a white abolitionist, dismantling whiteness, not allowing whiteness to reinsert itself.
Well, what's great about the conversation with Dolbez is everything we were discussing was pretty much in the context of what white people do to other white people.
And do you think whiteness is Germanness
They're kind of suggesting that, but
or
I mean,
Anglo-Saxonism,
when you look at like
British
everyone
and
that
German?
somewhat fits into the very broad description of white, you're talking about Northern Europeans, you're talking about Southern Europeans, and you're talking about some North Africans and West Asians even. So,
These are just workplace values, right? Oh, wait, there's another part of the. Oh, hang on. There's a whole other part of that whiteness chart, I guess. There's 2 parts to it.
yeah. You want to know what my grandfather did in the war?
Oops, hang on. Look, time, following rigid time schedules. So following a schedule is whiteness. Planning for the future is whiteness. Bland is best. Steak and potatoes. I don't even know what this means. Blonde, thin, Barbie look is whiteness. Based on Christian religion, justice, English common law. In Louisiana, we have the Napoleonic Civil Code. Competition, winning and losing is whiteness. You must always do something about a situation instead of just letting a problem sit there. Like I'm proud to be white. If problem solving is white, I am proud to be a white problem solver. This is just, it's basically but what fascinates me the most is the reverse of this. What is the psychology of people that are not white? What is their version of all of this stuff?
Yeah, like if a black person shows up on time.
No, not Laws. It's not the storm front. This is a common chart from the left. You see it. You see it everywhere on the left.
Not
Let me
Laws. How
try
about
to
you look
find
it
its
up?
original source.
Not Laws. You look it up. You've got the same search engine capabilities that Jeff has. If you're really dying to know, look it
Okay,
up.
here's one from the National Museum of African American History and Culture. I will post the link. They are using the chart.
Immediately go for the storm front.
Not laws. I think you just live in an information bubble. I really do. Here's the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian Institution uses it. Here's an article from Newsweek talking about it. It's called Race Guidelines. So stop gaslighting. This is mainstream shit coming from the left. It's not right-wing talking points. It's not Stormfront. It's your own fucking people. Oh, one freaking museum, the Smithsonian, the National Museum of the United States, used it at a... Stop gaslighting. I'm not going to let you do that shit here. No, you're the bloody idiot. You're dumb. This is just if you can't recognize the reality of this, you are living in a fantasy world, dude. You are the idiot. And you're not going to gaslight the rest of us into your idiocy. There. Here, I'm going to go get a refill. Joe, deal with not laws for a second. I'll be right back.
Sure thing. All right, not laws. I'm gonna throw some more at you. All right. Be like, so there. I hope you learned. Oh, got someone in the back, but I don't think Jeff noticed him because of not laws. Um, I kind of agree, not laws. I think the whole that whiteness thing, um, died down a bit because it's observably stupid. They're basically talking about almost like I'd say at least half of that list you could say are generally positive human traits that they're ascribing specifically to white people as though it's bad. And it's so if you're white, it's insulting. If you're black, it's insulting. Um, and that's why I didn't think it really took off much because I remember it being more popular like 4 years ago or so. Now the fact that it was even made, that it was even a thing, and it was even considered in the first place, is something of um, like kind of a reflection of the times in which we live. But um, yeah, I don't think it was really that big of a thing. I also don't think Jeff was making it out to be as big of a thing, but he clearly noticed it. Um, and it clearly left a mark on him. And so um, you know, I suspect we'll still continue to see some strange things like that from time to time. Um, and I've noticed that um that kind of general thinking, even if it's not as thorough of a list as that like sometimes when people just do stupid things, it's because it's the culture. Or if you do something well, it's like, oh, your culture makes you do things well. That's not fair. You got to remember other cultures, and it's like, so you want me to fuck up more? Or like, I do know some of that general stuff still gets said here and there. I don't know how much of a thing it would be in Canada. I wonder how bad the Quebecois are getting pressed with their Frenchness under attack.
All right. And another thing, not laws, you can look at here. I will put you the link. I did a whole stream on the Washington State Department of Equity put out an official state document saying the same stuff here in Washington State. So it's codified into
Jeff,
state
I think we got someone in
policy.
the background or
In the
in the
background?
back room. Back room. I mean,
Backstage?
yeah.
Mm-mm. Oh, just ignore that person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's one of the trolls. Hang on,
Not
let me
says
get
he's
this
not
link
debating a
for you, not
Kool-Aid
laws. You
drinker.
can see it enshrined in official state
Not laws. You see that I
propaganda.
drink coffee, right? So that means you'll at least talk to me, right? I mean, I don't really care about debating anybody. It doesn't matter if you're a Kool-Aid drinker or not. I don't really want to debate people, but I have coffee, right? I didn't pour Kool-Aid in here. I went up to my Keurig.
Hey,
I even have one of the reusable K-pods where you can pour the grounds in it, and you don't make a bunch of K-pod garbage, right? You should love that. In fact, where is WASF? He would love that. The reusable K-pod. He would love that. He'd be all going into gyrations over the environmentalism.
not laws. I just put a link in Washington State is also one of the state government here is also one of these people using these concepts. You can see it. In fact, I will find
This is the
their
cup I use for
statement. I
water.
did a
not
video
water.
on it, but I will give you the actual
I
statement.
don't have any Kool-Aid mix. I can't. Although I do have that energy drink stuff you can squirt into water to like flavor it. So I do have that.
Blizzy, what's up? How you doing? See, he's gaslighting because this is not a conspiracy. It's the African American Museum. It's the Smithsonian. It's the Washington State government. Those are 3 examples. There's more. There's federal departments that use it. There's the National Science Foundation. I've done streams on all of this. You've been here and watched them. You're gaslighting your own self right now.
The blind spot has questions. What questions do you have for him? I want to see the questions. You know what they're probably going to do is oh, never mind. I'm not going to say. There's nothing to derail blind. What is there to derail? Yeah, get your
Oh,
ass
wait, let
up
me see
here.
what's going on.
The blind
Oh,
spot will come up.
blind. Yep. Yeah, definitely come. No, there's nothing to derail. You just got to figure out what kind of Nazi you are. You're our Mexican Nazi, I guess. Okay, cool.
Yeah, while he comes up, I'm gonna go plug my laptop in and probably do a few pull-ups. I need to do them throughout the day.
Okay, sounds good. Non-issues. Okay, then just keep denying and dismissing. But that's at least the world could see you doing it.
Cool.
If you want to look that ignorant in public, be my guest.
He doesn't want to look ignorant. Who told you that? They're a hater. I ate too much food today. I'm gonna have to eat like nothing
All
for the
right.
next 2 days. Oh man, arms are sore.
All right, here is that document I'm talking about from Washington State. It even has the official state seal on it. So here's your non-issue, it's not happening, no big deal thing. So you can deny all you want if that's the psychological defense you need to stay in your little bubble. But the rest of us are going to interact in reality. Okay, we have our... Hey, what's up?
What's up, guys? Okay, Jeff, you see, and I'm sorry, I'm not derailing anything, right? Because this is completely out of the blue.
This is an open panel.
Okay. You seem to be the only one person that understood what was happening the other day in real time. And I've gotten so much shit for that since then. And
Which time? There's a lot of things that happen. It seems like every
I
time
think
you
Taco
stream,
Nazi
something
is
happens.
funnier than Mexican Nazi, Jeff.
What Nazi?
Taco Nazi. That's way
Okay.
funnier than Mexican Nazi.
but yeah, that is pretty funny. But when dude came in, and I'm not gonna name any names because apparently that's in bad taste. You see, I'm trying something
You're
different.
talking about wrestler.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to be completely like bare it all to my audience and show them exactly how my thought processes work and all of this. But how should I have taken the comment when, because it was completely unprovoked when he said, it's funny how many people do agree with my opinion. Because I said, I don't necessarily agree with your opinion, but I like you. And he said, well, it's funny how many people do agree with my opinion. What do you think?
I would have just ignored. He's using a social proof argument to try to bolster his credibility or the validity of his opinion. It's kind of a way to manipulate. Like, because he has all these people on his side, that gives more weight to his opinion than yours.
Exactly, right. And
But if you're speaking your own personal truth, it doesn't matter how. Like, you could have a million people on your side. It's still not relevant to what you're saying about your own self. Like, he has no authority to.
thank you. And that's what you see, and it's so hard. I'm not even gonna lie. The hardest part of doing what I'm doing is having all the naysayers that say you're doing it wrong when I'm telling them, how can I be doing it wrong when all I am doing is being truly and 100% genuine and real with my audience.
I ignore them. Because those people they don't get me. They don't understand what I'm trying to do. I get the same shit and I ignore them. And if it happens on my panel, I push back. Or if it happens in the chat, but outside of that, I just ignore them. But I've had a life of experience doing that. It goes in one ear and out the other.
The way that I handled it, was I wrong, do you think?
How did you handle it? You mean when he came up on panel?
Yeah, and then I put him off, and because I'm loud and passionate and animated anyway, that doesn't necessarily.
And he was trying to control that.
Yeah.
Because for him, it looked like although he's the same way. You can watch his channel and see him act the same way. But for him, I think it's difficult for some people to have a conversation because it's a distraction. The emotional intensity is like this noise that enters the conversation, so they have a hard time following the conversation. And I just tell those people that I'm the wrong person to have a conversation with because that's just part of having a conversation with me, and it works fine for other people. I have a whole channel of me having conversations with people where it's not an issue. So that's a them issue. But they try to make it about you.
Yeah. And they try to make it, to me at least, they try to make it feel like I'm not being real with what I'm saying by doing that. And if you go back and listen, two things. For somebody to say, I'm of the mindset that you just want to disagree with me. Now, if you
That's what he said?
Yeah, if you break that down, that means I am already going to disagree with anything you say because I think it's a disagreement to what I'm saying, right?
That you're saying that's what he was thinking or saying.
He said, I'm of the mindset that you're going to disagree with anything that I have to say.
Then why was he even wasted his time trying to have if that's what he thought, why was he even trying to have a conversation? I would just leave that person alone if I thought they were automatically going to disagree no matter what. Like Not Laws. See, I'm not even talking to him right now.
I like Not Laws.
Not Laws. So is that why you two get along? Because you're both like expressive and be like.
Yeah, I relate to Blind.
Yeah, I relate to Jeff too.
He's the same way. He's passionate, and people mistake that. They pathologize passion.
Yes. And then they put all these and then they put all these because the one thing I don't want to be, even absent of YouTube and stuff, is weak. And not because of like any of the stigmas attached to being weak, but because it's in life you don't get far by being weak. So they attach these things to me that make me feel like I'm being weak by being passionate. And it's like, well, I didn't ask you to come and provoke me. You already know I'm passionate. And then another thing, if you go back and you look, I asked him, I said, what? Like, I listened to him. I calmed it as far down as I could. And I said, what good is you coming and telling me that other people agree with your opinion? What is your purpose? And he literally didn't. He wouldn't even hear me. He was so worried about telling me how to give my message and stuff. He wouldn't even listen to what I was saying. And it's like, well, and you see, the problem is that I've surrounded myself by people who like him. So it's like everybody's pissed off at me right now. And it's
Really?
like, yeah, it's like I
Over
can't.
that one stream? I didn't know there was all that fallout over it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like I can't help you guys because y'all don't see what I'm doing. Because what I'm attempting to do is say here, I'm not your everyday person that you see on stream. I'm different, and I'm willing to open my heart up and open my life up, open how I see things up, and just be like completely honest. But sometimes that's going to be no moments of being narcissistic, moments of being weak and self-conscious, moments of being like this, and that, and people aren't getting it. You know?
Yeah, a lot of people won't, but you just have to focus on the people that do, and
How
don't
can
don't let the people that don't draw you away from that, because the people that do get it are the ones that deserve your time and effort and investment.
so in your opinion, and I want both of you guys' opinion on this after hearing all of this, the people that are upset with me over things like that, like those are the people that I have to try, even as hard as it might be, to step away from, right? Because they're really doing something that is going to pull me back down. Because I don't want to stay self-conscious. I don't want to stay thinking that I'm doing something wrong or having to doubt myself.
You doubting yourself?
In moments like that, I do, but then I realize, man, you're
Because
the shit, and you're doing something that you know is right, and something that you know you want to do. Like,
I notice you internalize it a lot more than I like. I know how to not internalize
yeah,
that stuff, and I don't know if it's because
it's
y'all have an
mixed.
existing relationship. It would be the same if he was a stranger, or if because y'all have kind of a friendship that makes it easier to internalize because
Not a
you give
friendship,
him more credibility.
just an acquaintanceship. Exactly. And because people that I've allowed into, because I guess I assign people a level of seriousness that I take what they say as they enter my
Yeah,
life. If you're somebody like not lost that says crazy shit, I'll give you like a 10% seriousness. But then the closer you
it's
get
generous.
to, I like not lost.
I do too. Honest.
But the closer I let you into my life, and the more I communicate with you privately, the higher that percentage is. And some of the people, because I didn't have blind space. I only went onto other people's channels and they got to see the part of me that got to discuss this, or the part of me that got to discuss this, but they never saw what I was when I brought it down to zero and just operated in my space. But it is difficult because these people are telling me, yeah, I'm disappointed in the way that you handled that, and and it's like, dude, I have to, because what I feel like, if I let somebody on my panel like that up on my panel and I listen to what they're saying, all like completely, is literally I'm opening my brain and letting somebody shit on it and internalizing it and applying that to how I need to be, right?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and
I agree. I don't do that. I'm constantly kicking people off that come on here and try to manipulate me or police me and can't. If you can't focus on the content, if the conversation becomes about my intensity, my passion, the way I'm having a conversation, then you've already hijacked the conversation for a different purpose than I was originally entering the conversation for.
yeah, and I feel like I gave him a good enough opportunity to challenge, because I get it that you see somebody saying shit and you're like, okay, is this person speaking from a place of honesty or not? I'm gonna challenge that. I feel like I gave him ample opportunity to challenge it, but then he saw the response he got. Now, for him to fall back and play like I'm victimizing him because I kicked him off my panel, or even to like put the air out there, and he repeatedly was like in the chat was like, I tried to go up there and talk to you. You kicked me off your panel. I tried, and it's like, I tried too, bro. But you don't want to have a conversation about the content, like you
Yeah,
said. You want to have a conversation about how I'm giving my message.
yeah. I kick people off all the time. I mean, I don't care. Joe tells me stuff sometimes I don't agree with, and I don't. I just disagree with him. I
I
don't.
also don't. I don't freak out when he gets all like, he's like, that's more of that stuff, and I ain't about it, and no one's gonna tell me. And I'm like, okay,
I've never
okay.
said.
Well, that's a part of being if you want all Jeff, if you want Jeff in all modes and in all honesty, you're gonna get that, right? You're gonna
Yeah,
get
it's
every side.
right. I'm here to be transparent and authentic, and I'm not. So that's my primary goal, and I keep that at the forefront. So if somebody tries to pull me away from that, I don't let them do that. I continue to be what I'm here for, and they
Well,
can
I
go do
feel
whatever on
like
their own channel. But the thing that confuses me about Wrestler is he gets just as passionate to work up. So I think he's working out issues of his own self through you, because what he's talking about, I think, was almost more self-criticism. And you got
wow.
to remember, he spent time in the corporate world, and the people I know from the corporate, they will do that to you. Like they that they see the value of code switching because they get a benefit up from it. So I think they think they're helping other people
What
by
is code
teaching.
switching? I heard you mention that the other day. Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah, it's like when you go from one culture environment, like corporate workplace culture is a specific type of culture. So if you come from cultures that are more passionate or like more free flowing with their speech and emotions, you have to adapt. It's like kind of like when black people learn to talk less black at work, or like talk more,
Okay.
and then when they go home they can be black again. That's code switching. And so wrestlers learn to adapt himself to this environment where you do have to be mindful of your speech, you have to be sensitive to other people, you
Yeah, but
have to.
I don't want
And
nothing
so
to
he's
do with
trying to
that.
socialize you to that norm because he got a value out of it, but he's not meeting you where you are, and he's not understanding what your channel is for and what your goals are.
Yeah, because I've done that. I can do that effortlessly. I don't have any issue doing that. The problem is that I find when I do that, there's something left to be said when it comes to honesty and being genuine. So
Yeah.
it's like okay, I could do that, but I don't want to do that. Like what I'm doing is different and saying, "Hey, this is blind," and what I'm finding too. I think what you said is profound, man. Honestly, Jeff, you are an guardian angel assigned to me by the AI somehow.
Satanic angel.
Well, somehow,
Guardian demon.
because like every time that I'm dealing with something, you seem to be one of the only people that can like fully digest what you're seeing and understand it the way that I do on a level that is
I've
beyond what.
lived it. It's in my body. It's in my it's in my physical memory banks at this point. I've
Just hearing this,
lived. I've dealt with all of this myself. I've lived it.
yeah, just hearing this, and he's thinking that this art haters, fuck all y'all. I know what I'm doing. I get through to people. He's like, I'm a peer counselor. It's happening right now.
And you get to set the norms of your channel. And I set very specific norms here, and they're not going to be the same norms that Wrestler's trying to set on his channel because he's doing something different on that channel. But when you come to somebody else's channel, you need to be able to respect or at least try to be aware of what their norms are. And
Yeah,
if you
and
can't adapt yourself to them, then stay off of their channel.
I feel like where I entered, like all of the people that I entered alongside, they feel like they have a higher stake in my and claim to me. And it's like, no, I went and had those civil conversations with you because I love to do that, but I'm a dumbass. Like I want, like my channel's turning up. That's why I started dancing at the beginning because I want people to immediately know I don't want to be taking myself with the level of seriousness that you take yourself with. You know?
Right. And so I think they're just not picking up on those signals too. Like, because
Yeah.
you are trying to signal that. I get it.
Yeah, and it's hard, man. It's hard. God damn, it's hard with the
You're not
shit.
doing anything wrong. You just keep driving your plane wherever you're taking it. And that's for them to adapt or adjust to and make some decisions about how much they want to engage with your channel.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm leaving them up to them. But that's an invitation that's gonna expire very, very, very quickly because I'm trying to shoot past all of the bullshit that's holding me down. You know what I mean? And people are mad at me because they're like, "Oh, well, you're stepping on toes with time slots." And, "Oh, well, you shouldn't be streaming 3 times a day because there are other people that want to
Who?
stream
It's your
too."
channel. You stream. I stream 8 to 12 hours a day sometimes. I'm treating this like a
Hold
full
on,
time job.
excuse me one second.
Yeah. Stream however often you want. These are people. They're testing you. They're trying to see how much control you're going to give them, how much they can work you.
And that's the thing. I'm not going to give them any control. But the thing
Don't.
is that they think that and I'm just being real, man. And I thank God you're on right now because I needed someone to talk to. But what do you call it? It's because I was a contributor to their channel for so long and only contributed to their channel. I didn't do content on my own. The only time that I was really
So you have
online
a
was
history. with
yeah, so I would come and I would talk. But the thing is, I didn't really want to. I would come, I would just want to go in the chat and hang out. And people would be like, come up, 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 come up. And I would come up and talk. But then it got to the point to where I would be live and they would fire up their lives randomly during my live and eat up my audience. So I said, well, you know what? Let me be a team player and kill my live and go do this, do that, do this. Well, and then I said, well, you know what? If I want to do what I'm going to do, I have to just do it on my own and just do it. Well, now all these people are like, well, I thought you were a team player. And it's like, no, I don't want to be on the team. I want to have team me like now. And
Big up, Jeff.
Hey, Bricky.
what's up,
Yeah, man.
Britt? Salute to you.
Salute. I hear you're being tested. I hear you're being tested.
Who?
Oh,
Who is
yeah.
it? Where?
Well, is it
Yeah.
a test or is it like what people do to just
Well,
break
I guess if you were part of their
team?
community before, there were certain expectations, I guess, that got set that they have of you, and now that you try to do your own thing,
Yeah.
that's part of what's being tested, and then their ability to control and manipulate it, make you would be the content they want to be.
I love them
They
to
want you to
mob
be.
me. I always meet because it's been in the back of my mind that people enjoy my content. And I know that. And I know that because I reach people, because I connect with people, because I love people. Like that's the main thing is I love connecting with people. And I've known I wanted to make content. So I never even gave them as much as to mod me up. I would always say, no. I don't want to be a mod. I don't have anything to do with like being a part of your infrastructure. But they're really insulted and really upset with me for doing my own thing. And it's like, well, fuck, how can I ever like separate myself if I don't?
Hopefully, they have a good therapist or something they could talk it out with.
Hopefully they can talk to Jeff one-on-one. And
Well, you
Jeff
see,
can-
that's the thing too, is that like I'm black and white and I'm so happy. I thank God so much for that because once I decide something, I will run your ass over trying to get to what I'm like.
Wait there. Was that a proposition?
Nah.
Chris, what's up? I saw you on Verbal Combat the other day. Did you win?
Oh shit!
Third time, Jeff. Third time.
Hell
what?
yeah! You said
And
the
I
third
put, I'm almost certain it's like a DEI higher project where I'm getting the guilt. You know, obviously a Brit like me.
Oh.
I'm not a debater, Jeff. You know that I am trying, Jeff.
Well,
I have been this.
You know what? I gotta go, guys. I gotta go eat. But just one that last thought on the debating. What I've noticed works best about debating is showing when your opponent is mistaken or has flawed logic, rather than proving any point. Just pin them down and make them talk about their flawed logic. And that'll win you. But I gotta go eat dinner. Then my dinner's ready. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, guys.
Take
Always,
care.
guys, love you, and y'all take care.
Enjoy. Yeah, most online debates are not true debates anyway.
Jeff, I learned that by taking the opposite stance on one or two debates in the past, just to test the logic, even though I didn't believe in it. I do like debating. I think it's a linguistic art, okay, that I'm not really homed in on yet, but I do like to roast people. You know, I was called a troll. I was actually called a troll on Easy's channel the other night, Jeff.
What's your channel, by the way? You
Um,
can drop it in the back, and I'll put it in the chat.
Bricky on a rant.
Bricky,
Jeff,
okay, I got it.
The name, it's like I say, Jeff. It's a British channel. I really don't do much on there because when I do, I delete it because there's a lot of TOS that gets broken when I go live. If you get what I mean. So,
Yeah, I know
have-
people that do streams that way.
This is my third channel, Jeff. Third, you know. So, but I'm learning.
What's your goal? What are you trying to do ultimately?
therapy.
Ah, okay.
This is therapy for me, Jeff.
Is it helping?
Fucking brilliantly. Not gonna lie to you.
I think that's why I'm doing this. I think it has great potential to be a benefit to people's mental health. Believe it or not.
Jeff, I remember first coming across you, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm just gonna be totally honest with you. I did think you were a bit of a wet wipe, right?
What's a
But
wet wipe? Is that British slang?
it is. It is. I'm going to try and divulge it and dissect it from an American style. A bit like a soggy, something a bit soggy and mushy, you know. But the more I got to listen to you, the more I thought you deliberately do this because you're not really bothered about people's opinions. It's like, if anything, bring
No, I
them
mean,
on.
everyone's got a different opinion. Like I said, I have a life of experience this, like since I was a kid. Urban Dictionary says it's an upright cunt in general. A letdown or just a general upright cunt.
Yeah, that's a good definition.
And a sweaty teabag, whatever that is.
That's a good definition of it. Yeah, and I'm going to admit that's what I did think of you, Jeff. I did. Like I say, look, I'm being honest with you. First impressions, you can't judge a book by its cover, which I did. Okay, I'm admitting
I'm
did.
guilty of that too. Here in the Panelverse.
But let's face it, Jeff. Survival of the fittest. You know, kill or be killed. YouTube is basically like that. It's a game of sport hunting for me. You know, that's how I look at it. So,
like state of nature.
Yeah, but respect. Like obviously, like I'm saying now, talking to you, I do owe you the respect and saying what I thought of you, regardless of what you do. But it's educational. It is for me anyway. I can take stuff from it for the debating side of it because this is where I got these linguistic skills as opposed to roasting. You know, the little things like learning to let people say their thing and not jump in and other things. But I'm still learning, Jeff.
Well, we all are, and I think one thing Joe and I are learning is that it doesn't have to be survival of the fittest. If you have enough people that come together and choose to make it something different, that is possible, and that's one thing we're trying to demonstrate here. So yeah, I think like maybe the default of the Panelverse is survival of the fittest, but I think some of us can.
Jeff. You're a nice person. Yeah, that's what you're, a nice person. I'm not. Again, I am, but I am genuinely just like Bricky on a rant. He's a cunt. That's just it.
A wet wipe.
But I am a wet wipe. In my own terms, I'm a wet wipe. I am. But
I don't think I'm all that nice. I don't know why people think I'm so nice. I scored a 12 on politeness on my big 5.
It's them horns. Where them horns gone from your head? I miss them.
They broke. I need to get a new. I want to get some MAGA gear, and I might try to find some antlers that go better with MAGA. A MAGA wardrobe.
Joe, did you like his horns? He was very horny, wasn't he, when he had those horns?
I can't say that I actually grew attached to them. I kind of am new, and so maybe if I'd been here a year, I'd be like, "Oh, the antlers." When I first met him, he did not have them. So they were actually new.
Oh, you met.
So he grew them. He's grew them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's evolved.
I shed it.
So,
but people do say that it makes me less of a. Makes me more approachable, like more.
Nah. I think with the horns on, that's why I thought you were a wet wipe.
Oh,
right?
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people thought that too.
Now with them off, are you woke, Jeff? Are you woke?
Woke?
Woke. W-O-K-E. Woke.
W-O woke? Like social justice? this critical.
Yes.
You must not watch my channel very much. No, I'm about as anti-woke as they get. I hate the
Good.
woke. That's why I left the Democratic Party, was over the wokeness.
Good.
That's why I'm
That-
voting against Kamala, because of the wokeness. I've done
That's what I'm
entire
getting now.
series on all the woke shit in government that I think is so bad for
So
America.
that's what I'm getting now, Jeff. But that's what I didn't get from from judging you from the cover of the book
Oh
without
my God, you
reading the book.
mistook me for woke?
I did, and I apologise. I'm totally acceptable to admit when I was wrong, Jeff. I really do think that's a very good quality in any man or woman to admit when they are wrong in a situation.
I wouldn't
So I
know.
was. Have you never been wrong, like Jeff?
I'd have to search my memory banks. I'm sure at one point or another. I've been
Sure.
wrong about people in the Panelverse before. I've misjudged. And then after I've gotten to know people, I realized that they were not the awful person that I thought they were. And I actually like getting to know them.
So is this
So
you
yes,
talking about me
I
now?
have
Is
been
this you
wrong.
talking about me, Jeff? Is this you talking about me? 'Cause
I don't know you well
misjudged me.
enough. It could come to that. I've been wrong about the drama sometimes. I've been wrong about the Panelverse, like the value of drama.
Yeah,
I've
drama sells.
trusted some people I've been wrong for trusting. So yeah, I've been wrong.
There you go. So Joe, we've just getting that out to him by now. He was wrong. He's admitted he was wrong. Okay, so we've got that on clip. Can we clip that? Can we get that clipped? Just so that's proof. Joe's going to clip that right now. He's
I've been
literally
wrong
doing it
about
now.
not laws before, believe it or not. I think not laws sometimes shows more integrity than most people in the Panelverse, as much as I punch down on him because he's Canadian and he makes it so easy with his delusions. But I think at heart, not laws is a solid egg.
I don't know who Not Laws is, to be honest with
Oh,
you.
well,
Jeff.
consider yourself. See, I'm doing it now.
Consider myself lucky. I really want to know who he is now, you know, because I am
He's
a
in the
sucker
chat.
for.
He's one of our
I'm a glutton for
regulars.
punishment. I am a glutton for punishment.
He's woke. That's the thing. He's like propaganda brained from all the woke stuff. But if you could
Oh
overlook
well,
that,
you
He's
look
like
at the. He's half woke, half.
Yeah, he's not like ruin your life, burn your house down, torture your career kind of woke, you know.
So he's like a car that's got a bit of an engine problem that can be fixed, but if you leave it too long,
you
I
are
don't
good
know
with
if any of these
language.
Jeff, I'm gonna have to bounce because my takeaway has come, my friend.
Okay.
That's food. That's a delivery. Uber Eats has come to me door.
Oh, well, enjoy.
But Jeff,
Yeah. I'm glad
thank you very
dro-
much for letting me up, Jeff. And I promise you, my friend, I will be up more for
Okay.
linguistic debates. But other than that, I'll see you later, boys. Bye bye.
Take care. Anytime. Glad you stopped by. Yay.
He's back.
Well, good. We solved some whiny problems. I'm glad we got a few.
Yeah.
But none of them were really victimy. Blind could have gone that way. I think if he just learns to not internalize and not put your. I would say like being aware of clear boundaries between you and these other people, what you're trying to do. But I think as you continue to do what you're going to do and be yourself, those boundaries are going to naturally form. So you don't even have to put too much thought into it. Just stay on the track that you're on and follow your own internal compass and not other people's compass. And I think those boundaries will just organically emerge.
You're probably right about that. I think. Yes,
And Chris, as far as you, just keep ranting. I think that is your strength. Keep working those linguistic muscles.
Yeah. And blind spot. Yeah, I think he just needs to. And I don't know a whole lot about him. Like, what does he talk about on his channel?
He's kind of like me, men's mental health,
Okay.
authenticity, passion, being yourself, not being policed, all that stuff. Like letting men be men and support. That's another thing. It's hard. It's hard doing it alone if you're in the fight alone. So one reason I create spaces like this is for people like you, blind, to come up and get the support when you need it. Because it's a lot easier when you have a place you can kind of come and be understood and recharge. So don't like finding a support network and building it up and adding as many people to it as possible. That's why I have the Discord. I have this channel. I am available to be part of that support network for people that need it.
Is Blind Spot a Spurg too?
Is he what?
Is he a Spurg?
Yeah, I think he is. He went through all of his epithets the other day.
Okay.
He rattled them off on stream. He's a Spurg. He's a Spick. He's toxically masculine. All kind of other stuff that we are. So I think he fits right in here.
Yeah, I was about to say, how much of his thing is potentially like, because he was talking about people, the way people look at his expressiveness. How much of that is for him? It's like it's spurging out. Is it like some of it his Latinness, right?
You never know, because I run into the same thing being Cajun. You never know how much of it is our culture, our ethnic culture, because he is Mexican. He comes from that culture. How much of it is that, and how much of it is the Spurg? And I think the Spurg just like modifies it, gives it like a plus factor to, because if you went to Mexico, you'd probably see many people passionate, and they're not all Spurgs. But I think when you combine that passion with the Spurg, you get a particular like extra level of it that ordinary Mexicans might not have. And I would say the same if you go to Louisiana. You're going to find people, some of them even way more passionate than me. I've played videos of James Carville going on his rants, and he looks very similar to what I feel like I do here. So I don't know where you draw the line between how much the neurodivergence contributes to an existing cultural trait or not. But if you get to know us as individuals, you don't have to worry about any of that, because that just gets all incorporated into your individual picture of who you are as a person.
Yeah. I wish we could I knew how to clip what he was saying. Not that I would do it. I just wish I knew how to clip the part he was talking about.
Oh, you mean on this video?
Yeah.
There is. You just go to, I think it's in the 3 dots. You hit the 3 dots and it gives you a clip option.
Okay.
And you can make like minute or 2 clips. I have that turned on for anybody that wants to. I give you permission to share, restream, clip my content, whatever. Do with it as you will. It's Community Creative Commons or whatever.
Yay. That's great. People love. I mean, people are already uploading clips of your show to other channels.
So make violent videos of me getting killed and all that stuff. Whatever you want to do for my content, you have my permission.
Oh, I found a part I'm going to clip though.
I like make songs of me. I'm still waiting for my song, and
it's going to be
because I like creativity. So I know what my content is, and then I like seeing what people do with it and how they put their own spin on it. So.
What's going to happen is it's going to have to be one of those moments where you're like really spurging out, but you're like extremely articulate about something, and then it'll really lend itself well to remixing.
They could set it to some industrial music or something and have me. Yeah, see, I'm even giving. I don't want to do your creativity for you. Surprise me. And I have been told before more than once, people have called it acting black.
Oh wow! Did they tell you that you were taking their culture or something?
No, it was sometimes it's from black people. But I told you I had my black friend. We were talking one day about the DEI and the racism stuff, and he says the reason white people struggle with black people is because we're loud and emotional and intense. And I said, oh, that's all the things I had. That's the same exact things I struggle with white people about, too.
Yeah, and so if you're loud and intense, you can accidentally communicate that you are a threat. And, if people think you're communicating that you're a threat, obviously they're not going to react the way you want them to.
Well, that's their problem. But, I mean, I guess it's my problem if they take action based on that. Sense that I'm a threat.
Exactly, right? Like
and many times they do, like you lose jobs and stuff. But
yeah, or like things like we talked about, like between men and women see us signaling that we're a threat even when we're just minding our own business, right?
They think Trump's a threat, right? And I would say to those people, if you think I'm a threat, and I may be, I don't know what your like level of sensitivity is, then it's for you to manage your contact with me, like stay away from me or reduce the amount of time that I'm in your life. That's how I would manage somebody that I saw as a threat. I'm not threatened by many people. There's very few people. Like, in fact, I can't think of anybody that I'm threatened by or scared of. So I usually don't have to evaluate people on how much of a threat I think they are. But if that's something you have to do, then I would just avoid the people that you identify as threats. And if I'm one of them, I have no problem with people steering clear of me. I don't have to change who I am. They get their needs met. It's a win-win for everybody. Well, you want to wind down? Or do
Probably a
do
good
we have
time.
any other whiny problems that people want to come up and have us solve?
Other than not loss.
It was right here. You got to it first. And part of the reason for the restraint was out of like respect for. I'm like, I want to say it, but no. Let me try to be a little nicer to him, and that was what gave me that pause.
Oh well.
But
these things
Not
happen.
Laws is quite capable of it. I've seen him at work, so I don't feel like I have to babysit him or look out for him too much.
No, not loss is fine. Besides, his break's coming up to an end soon, right? He won't be on as much.
Oh, right. You're on that. Well, he says. All right. Yeah, I've been going for a couple of hours. I can wrap up. And I might do another one
right.
later this evening.
All right, cool. Well, I'm probably just gonna settle down for the night, watch my Mario Party program, and then
And work on the Monopoly game and the other game nights.
yeah.
And by the way, Joe and I have our Nexus episode coming up this Wednesday at noon.
Yep.
Every Wednesday and Saturday we're going to be here consistently. Oh, Shameless. Do you have any whiny problems? We can maybe get one in before Joe falls asleep.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I can tackle it. Good. Do what you want. I just give the advice. I don't. If you take it or not, it's not my business. I throw it out there. Okay. Well, I guess my whiny problem is how to wrap up.
Probably, let me do it. So, folks, just remember that even though your problems may be whiny, that doesn't mean that they are tiny.
Perfect. But sometimes, usually they are. Don't be a victim. Don't make your problems more whiny than they have to be. Oh, yeah, the hunger thing I get. I'm kind of feeling that myself, too. And I just realized I'm going to have to make it out to the store. It's getting dark here. I've missed the window I would prefer to go out.
Shameless, you need to introduce me to more girls who are too hot, okay? So who have that in common with you.
Yeah, you're his ticket, Shameless.
That's right. Keep hooking me up.
Are you waiting for a ride from Mr. P or somebody else? Because to me, that would... If you're getting a ride from a person that can offer you consolation when they get there, that's like anticipation of impending relief right there. And maybe he'll bring you some food. Maybe he'll stop by McDonald's on the way and grab you some fries. That's the kind of husband I want. Yep, she noticed too. Women really are good at picking up on subtle things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and show her the Captain America shirt and get her.
Oh, yeah.
We're trying to figure out if this is toxic masculinity and if it would intimidate women or if it's like geek chic and endearing to women. What do you think about
This is not a great angle.
The shirt.
My lap. Why is it?
Have Mr. P get you a Frosty. You deserve at least a Frosty. A man should be able to do that for his wife. All right, we'll get her weigh in on the shirt, and then I'll wrap it up. We need a woman's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The gay is stumped.
That's right.
Stump a gay. That could be a topic.
We would just have to let Shameless get all the remarks about my shaved beard
We
out
we
first.
converted him. He went over to the dark side. I'm a Satanist, don't you know? Christian Satanist. I'm still part Jedi. I use the whole Force. Why divide it up? Why compartmentalize the Force when you have the whole range available to you?
Interesting thoughts.
Well, I guess Shameless is. She's either typing. She has really detailed opinion on the shirt, or she's holding out on us, or she's
Yeah.
distracted with her own whiny problems.
Mm-hmm. She's a hungry woman. Do you know what it's like to be a woman and hungry?
Oh no,
It's the worst thing ever.
a hangry woman.
Yeah, and do you know what it's like to be a woman who is brought food by a man?
A woman without a frosty.
Mm-hmm. That's what
Okay.
every woman wants to hear. They want to go, "Hello, I am man. I have food. Here you go." And then they're like,
Well, not the new women, not the one in this Star Wars movie I'm watching. I was all sympathetic to her at first when she was alone in the desert and struggling and going up against that like merchant that she had to turn the parts into. I was like, yeah, she's holding her own. And the minute she got a little bit of power, she got really bitchy. She got to be this know-it-all Karen. She was bossing that guy around, and she let out those creatures. Oh, I shouldn't spoil the show, but she was the one that fucked it up for him too. So don't be bitchy and irritable because people are not giving you the like deference and control that you feel like you're entitled to, and then at the same time not do your job well and fuck it all up. You can't have it both ways.
"Yeah, that ain't right."
Wow, look at Not Lost being profound. Or maybe he's just trying to manipulate us with this.
Well, you know who the greatest puppet master is? Geppetto. You know, he gave life to Pinocchio, right? So who doesn't want to be a puppet master?
That's right.
The most beautiful thing you can be.
Yeah,
That's what
unlike
Jordan
John
Pearson-
Cusack in the John Malkovich movie.
Exactly.
All right, well I guess we will end on that bit of Canadian wisdom, and
All right.
we'll
Until
bring
next
it.
time,
I'm a
outliers.
coercer. We'll bring you another rally tomorrow. Though I think we're gonna have them all the way up into election day and maybe after. So I will see you then, or maybe tonight. All right, that's it for me.
All
Take
right.
care,
See you guys.
Joe. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you Wednesday, where we will try to connect more individuals to the Nexus. All right, take care. It was fun.